Okay, so what we are looking at today is the packs that we have in Ableton. And when you look at this one, you click on packs, you will see a whole lot of different packs here. The 64-bit 64 pad lab by Matt Zach, these all come downloadable when you have your Ableton Live Suite, the registered version. And then basically what we want to do is load one of these drum racks. Now you hear these drum racks, they are more than just drums. They have different instruments in them as well. And because of this, they can be used as instruments to play live. And then there's also the build and drop sets. So the build and drop sets, and the other one is the chop and swing set. These have drums which are more conventionally sounding like drums. With a little bit of instrument sound added, but it's mainly drum sounds. So you notice that because I have this little blue headphone on, every time I click on one of these, it will actually preview the whole thing for you to hear what it sounds, what it could sound like. So the first thing we want to do is we want to try taking one of the, say, chop and swing drums. Chop and swing drums, and I'm going to just double click it when I'm in session mode. Session mode is when we have everything vertical, remember? So right now, by double clicking it, it has come into my first channel. And my first channel, I will see here, this thing is called a drum rack instrument. With a drum rack instrument, it is automatically mapped to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G on a keyboard. This is the C1, that's the bottommost C on the normal keyboard. You could play it from here. Now, I am playing, but I'm not hearing because I'm not in the right octave. Do you remember how to move up and down octaves? Which X and Z, right? So I move Z, it says C2. I move Z again, it says C1. Now I really have. As a convention, as a norm, you will find that people put the kick drum, the bass drum, on the bottom C. And as a convention, they will put the snare, this sound, on the D. That is the most common thing that you will find. So on the C and the D, you can do that, right? And if you have a pad like the NanoPad, afterwards I'll show the NanoPad, you will find that the C, basically it's in a very logical place for it to be. The rest of the things will be, the rest, they might have an additional snare next to the D. The rest is basically anyhow go, anyhow whack. Usually on what will be the black keys, they will put the hi-hat so that you can do the, so you can use actually the black keys to play the hi-hat. And if you are using a black and white keyboard, as in piano keyboard, you will have the black keys to play the hi-hat on. So how it works is that you go, that is quite straightforward, right? You learn how to make your right hand do one thing and your left hand do the same thing. Don't worry, if you have to learn driving, you have to learn this anyway, right? To do two things at one time. To be able to steer and then switch on the windscreen wiper. So this is useful for you when driving. Now let's look at how it's aligned on something like the push. On the push, it lights up very nicely The push, because it's an Ableton instrument, it looks exactly like the drum rack looks. So I have Can you see from where you are? Really? No, you're just looking at the back of my head. Come and have a look. Now what I like to do is I like to take a piece of paper and I draw a grid so I remember which thing is which. Yeah? Otherwise, you're wondering how the hell do I remember, right? Especially when there's got a... I ask you, where was the prung sound? Can you remember now?
What's the prung sound?
Hey, not bad, Brian remembered. Brian has found a clue. They like to put the melodic parts up on the top row. Yeah? So you can actually play. So you could actually make something like that. Of course, it is really, yes, to do this all at the same time, right, requires a lot more hand-to-eye coordination than you want to try on Saturday morning. So what is the solution? Huh? You could have a backing track, yes. So you could get back into here and you load up a backing track. You could practice a lot also, yeah. And you could also have a backing track. So here in the chop and swing, right, there are MIDI clips. So let's take a slow MIDI clip, somewhere between 72 to 84 BPM. Wow, this is complicated. Okay, so I'm going to drag this onto an empty slot here on the second. So this is under MIDI clips and this will run by itself. I'm going to turn down the volume. And I'm going to go back to the original first channel I was. I know that I'm playing it because the little red arm button is on. Now Clint, you come and play the top row.
Sorry, when?
The top row. So, do you find that it's easier when you have two people playing?
Yes.
And then you realize that you can actually load up this on 4 different laptops or 5 different laptops, different drum racks with different instruments, and you can actually play different things. And this is the one thing that we have in EML which we don't have anywhere else, which is that we actually can have a group of musicians playing together. Wow. This is actually not common, because a lot of times you can actually be sitting at home doing your own thing, which you would be anyway. But the special part about a group like this is that now you're in a group, you are no longer reliant just on yourself. You can actually cooperate and do something. So now this is just a simple 16 pads. Let's load up something like the 64 pad. This one is more challenging, 64 pad. I'm going to load this into the slot there. This one takes a while because this is literally a 64.
You can stand up. Oh, that's not a back.
family. So your name is Trujan. Clint. CIT. Sorry? Minus the ON. Or clean it also again.
Okay, I'm going to stop. Okay, now we are looking at the 64 pads, and you see everything has now lit up, right? Can you see everything has lit up? Yes. Because all 64. And in the 64 pad lab by Matt Zach, there are actually 5 of these 64 things. Now, if you are using a controller which does not have 64 pads, let's say you're using the NanoPad. NanoPad? How many is a NanoPad? 16.
8 times 2.
You will be playing this part. You'll be playing one corner. But the NanoPad has 4 additional buttons, scene 1, 2, 3, and 4, right?
It can go up, down.
Come, bring out. Yeah. So here the NanoPad has scene 1, 2, 3, and 4. By pressing scene, you can actually jump to the next 16. So when you press scene 1, you will be listening to this part on the NanoPad. Scene 2, you'll be playing this part. Scene 3, this part, and scene 4, this part. Because after all, 16 already is enough for you to deal with, I think. Yeah. Dealing with 64 requires another year or so of practice. So the beauty of it is that if one of you loads up some of the drum and some of you loads up some of the pads, we can actually play something together. So shall we try?